Harrison Butker, you're done after this year. You are done after this year. You haven't been effective on field goals and extra points. You've missed a number of kicks this year. And then, of course, last night, you go and kick the ball out of bounds. Trevor Lawrence already has a minute 43 with 2 timeouts left on the clock. And instead of trying to pin them back inside their 10, 15, or 20, you kick it out of bounds and give them the ball on their own 40. Well, hell, the cheap young kickers now that are seemingly hitting from 70 yards every single week, heck, you only need 2 15-yard pass plays and you're already in field goal range. Welcome to the Heartland Huddle podcast, Chiefs, Lions, and NFL Talk. I'm Eric, your host. As always, guys, if you've been rocking with us since last year and all season, salute to you. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. If you're new to our channel, and of course new to our content, make sure you hit that subscribe, engage in the comments, answer the poll questions, and really subscribe with us. Hey, I wanted to let you guys know too, we've got some exciting news here on the podcast. This coming Sunday, join us for a live stream podcast at 7 o'clock Central Time for the Chiefs versus the Lions Sunday Night Football matchup. That's this coming Sunday at 7 o'clock Central Time right here on YouTube. Catch our live stream watch party with me and my co-hosts and some friends. It's going to be a good time. So, but enough of that. To the Monday night game. The Chiefs lose a heartbreaker, of course. 31-28 to the Jacksonville Jaguars on Monday Night Football. Tough one. And look, I can go in, and I have tried to soothe myself. I have tried to calm down, calm my blood pressure, and I'm starting to get to that point. However, terrible, terrible game by the Kansas City Chiefs. All the credit in the world goes to Trevor Lawrence, Liam Cohen, the head coach, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Kansas City, on the other hand, sloppy football. And that's really what this boils down to. I can jump into stats. I can jump into all the advanced metrics. I can break down game tape. We can look at the letdowns on defense. We can look at the inactivity, or should I say the inaction of Chris Jones down the stretch. We can look at the mistakes, which we certainly will, but it all boils down to sloppy football. And I don't care if it's Pee-wee football, junior high, high school, college, or the NFL. If you play sloppy, mistake-ridden football, you're going to lose games. The crazy part is that with the minute 43 left in the fourth quarter, the Kansas City Chiefs, with all the mistakes they had, of course, are still leading by 4. And then, of course, we get into that final drive by the Jaguars, one that we seemingly let them have. But overall, the start of the game, great. The last 3 quarters, not so great. Once again, the Chiefs lose a heartbreaker, 31-28. And I'll tell you, I'll start with the overall zoomed-out picture. Now with a tough Detroit team coming into Arrowhead this next week for a huge Sunday Night Football matchup, I was going to feel a lot better about being 3-2 headed into that game, and now we're sitting at 2-3. Obviously, we all know Rashee Rice gets back after the Detroit game, but here we are, 3-3. Let's say we're 3-2, and then we lose to Detroit. That feels a lot different getting Rashee Rice, back at 500, rather than, let's say, a 2-4 after 6 weeks and getting Rice back. What is that? By my count, that's 6 games played. You have 11 left, 18 weeks, 17 games. Hell, I don't know. What do you have to do? Go on a run? You have to go 10-1 over the last 11 weeks? I think putting that much on Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice coming back is a lot to do, right? But to jump into it, as I said, mistake football all across the board. The first 3 drives were in the red zone. We score. We take a lead, 7-0. The Chiefs, after the first quarter, are seemingly playing really, really well. Right? That second quarter, we also score, and we go into halftime with a 14-7 lead. But that's where the mistake started. One of the big mistakes I thought that cost us in that first half that allowed Jacksonville to get on the board was the missed interception by Drew Tranquill, right, in that second quarter. If we intercept that pass as it's bouncing off everybody's hands, that ends the Jacksonville drive, we go down and we probably score. We were moving the ball at will in the first half, particularly the first quarter against Jacksonville. That's a huge momentum swing. Instead, Jacksonville retains possession. They go down. They tie it up, of course, at 7 apiece, right? And that's not, of course, where the mistakes started, and that's not where they ended, of course. You had the missed interception by True Tranquil in the first half. And then, of course, we all know the red zone interception as well. The Chiefs at that point, if you remember, are driving. We're on a long drive. Right now it's 14-7. We get all the way down to 1st and goal, and Mahomes throws the pick six, the 99-yard pick six to Lloyd, the linebacker D end for Jacksonville. And he races 99 yards, ties the score up. That's a 14-point swing right there, folks. And seemingly, we know football too is a game of momentum. It gains all the momentum back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that's what was tough about it all night. Credit to where credit's due. Jacksonville responded when they needed to. When Mahomes and the Chiefs were driving, they came up with some stops. They came up with that turnover, and they were able to drive and respond as well. But for the most part, it was the Chiefs kicking themselves in the foot all night long. Penalties. Goodness gracious, guys. 12 penalties to their 4, I believe. 6 of those penalties being on special teams alone. The running back who's done wonders for us. You can tell Andy Reid's starting to trust him more in the run game, in the pass game, and of course on special teams now. Has the big 68-yard return to set us up with great field position, comes all the way back due to a holding penalty. On the final drive of the game, Chiefs, 23 seconds left. We're needing a touchdown. A field goal to tie the game up and potentially send it into overtime. He has another huge 40-yard return to set us up with great field position. Once again, it comes back, setting us up half the distance to the goal and seemingly out of options, right, for that last drive to try to tie things up. And that just kills you all night. We all know the success the Chiefs have had over, the last 8 years, really since Mahomes has started. 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards, played in 5 out of the last 6 Super Bowls, 7 straight AFC championship games, won 3 Super Bowls in the past 5 years. Mahomes with 2 regular season MVPs and 3 Super Bowl MVPs. We can go on and on and on about the success that the Chiefs have had over the last 8 years. Well, the natural question, that begs the question, why? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because we've largely been healthy, number one, and number two, we played mistake-free football, especially in critical moments. You can go on about Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and their greatness, Steve Spagnuolo, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce. But for the majority of those 8 runs, we've been healthy and we haven't shot ourselves in the foot. We've let the other teams do that. What happened Monday night against the Jacksonville Jaguars, we do to teams, not the other way around. Right? And that's sort of where we get into it. Mahomes, fantastic game by all accounts, other than that red zone costly 99-yard pick six, 29 of 41, 318 yards with a touchdown and an interception. Also, of course, had 6 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown as well on the ground. That big touchdown zone read score. So once again, another flawless, great game by Pat. But in crucial moments that we've seen him excel in, he cost us dearly, So you look at the 12 penalties to the 4. It was pass interference calls all night, defensive holdings, the 6 penalties on special teams. Hollywood Brown uncharacteristically had an unsportsmanlike in the first half as he punched a guy or hit the guy in the face mask, draws a 15-yard penalty, putting us behind the chains, constantly going backward. And it kills you. It absolutely kills you. Once again, whether it be Pop Warner, whether it be college, the NFL, whatever the case may be, you can't have mental mistakes and errors like that. Like I said, the Chiefs typically, do that to other teams, not the other way around. More mistakes. On the last possession, let me ask this. If your best all-pro corner, Trent McDuffie in this case, has been guarding their best all-pro wide receiver all game, Brian Thomas Jr., all game, and then suddenly on the last possession when Trevor Lawrence has to have it in a 2-minute drill, you don't travel McDuffie across the field with Brian Thomas, and they subsequently complete a 33-yard pass on the sideline on a 3rd and 7 to convert that after the Chiefs had just come up with the sack on 2nd down. Inexcusable. It's mistakes like that, mental errors and calls like that get you beat. Credit to Trevor Lawrence, threw an absolute dime on that throw to Brian Thomas. One of the better throws you'll see from a quarterback. So credit to him. It was defended well, but Shamari Connor, a guy that I've sounded off before on this podcast, he's late to cover over the top, and then Watson, I believe it was, in coverage, jumps too early and completely whiffs, trying to knock the ball down. Why isn't McDuffie on him at that point in time? I don't understand. Once again, these are things that other teams do against the Chiefs that get them beat, not things the Chiefs do against teams to get themselves beat. You have the 33-yard completion on 3rd and 7 to Brian Thomas. You, of course, have the pass interference on the final play of the game against Shamari Connor in the end zone. He face guards Brian Thomas, holds his arms, draws the penalty, right? But then even that, the defense still put up a stout fight after that penalty call on 1st down. And then 2nd down, Trevor Lawrence gets stepped on. He falls on the ground, lays there for an eternity, is what it seemed like. And we still can't get to him. He's still able to get up, recover, look around for somebody to throw to, and when all else fails, he sheds a tackle and runs into the end zone for the game-winning score. Absolutely atrocious, undisciplined football by the Chiefs. And that leads me to my biggest point of all, Chris Jones. Chris Jones, you're a 3-time Super Bowl champion. I could argue that in 2 of those Super Bowls, each time we played the San Francisco 49ers, that you were the reason why we won those Super Bowls. The first one, Super Bowl 54, when he batted down 3 passes on the final possession from Jimmy Garoppolo. And then the second Super Bowl where on the 3rd and goal, he rushed Brock Purdy into a bad throw. They have to kick a field goal. The Chiefs get the ball back. We go down for the game-winning score. I can argue that you were the biggest factor in those 2 Super Bowls. I'm not discrediting your resume. I'm not discrediting the impact that you've had on this team and for the Chiefs. But damn it, Chris Jones, if you're not going to play all game, every game, get off the field. It's the same thing I've sounded off with for Travis Kelce. I don't care that you're 35, 36 years old. I don't. If you're going to be on the field, be productive. Now, Travis Kelce, to that point, 6 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Great game from the veteran Kelce last night. But Chris Jones, I literally watched you on the last play where Trevor Lawrence fell down on the ground. I watched you stand there and do nothing. And for the most part of this season, you've done nothing all season. I get you're double teamed. You're a future first ballot Hall of Famer, Chris Jones. I understand that. But that doesn't stop the effort and the motor to try to get there. You are it on defense, man. You are it. You're our quarterback on defense. You're a leader. You're our heart and soul on that defensive side of the ball. And for you to look like that, you're too overpaid, you're too good, and your resume is too great for you to play like that, man. Get going. We need you. And if you're not, get off the field, man. You make too much money for all of that. And watching Chris Jones' effort on some of those plays, you know what it is? I felt over the last couple of years, him and Travis Kelce have just wanted to be carried to Super Bowls and then feel like they can flip that switch in big moments in big games. But that 18-week grind, that 17-game season from September through January, they don't want any part of anymore. They want Patrick Mahomes and the young guys to get them to January. They want to play in the playoffs, and they want to get to that Super Bowl. That way, on a 3rd and 7, on a 3rd and 8, Chris Jones can call himself the hero and come up with the big sack, come up with the big deflected pass. Well, it doesn't work that way, bro. You don't just get to play 3rd downs in this league. You have to help stop the run. You have to help the young guys. You've got to do things that are going to propel us forward to win football games. Take it back to week 1. Drew Tranquill sitting there as Chris Jones selfishly rushes inside, takes a wrong path to the quarterback. Justin Herbert's able to break containment, pick up the 1st down, and effectively end the ball game. And Drew Tranquill, we all saw it, yelling at Chris Jones, pleading with him to do your job. Stay in your lane, literally. Right? And this is just another example of older veteran guys that are paid, that are looking to be carried to a certain point, and then say, hey, I'm a Hall of Famer. I want the glory. I want to be called the hero in these big critical moments. And I'm about tired of it, right? Because it is a grind. It is a long season. Patrick Mahomes sure doesn't play like that. Patrick Mahomes can't take a play off. You know, your other guys on your team, the Trent McDuffies of the world, the Jaden Hicks, those guys, they're grinding, trying to get back because we have to win these ball games to try to get there. And then one of the biggest gaffes of all, and something that's been popping up recently just over the NFL season. In the offseason, the NFL changed the kickoff rule again, that if you do kick it through the end zone as a touchback, you get it at the 35 now, incentivizing teams to really kick the ball into that landing zone so we can get more returns. Also, if you kick the ball out of bounds on a kickoff now, the opposing team gets it on their own 40 instead of their own 20 or 30 or 35 like it used to be. What a big factor that turned into. Harrison Butker, you're done after this year. You are done after this year. You haven't been effective on field goals and extra points. You've missed a number of kicks this year. And then, of course, last night, You go and kick the ball out of bounds. Trevor Lawrence already has a minute 43 with 2 timeouts left on the clock. And instead of trying to pin them back inside their 10, 15, or 20, you kick it out of bounds and give them the ball on their own 40. Well, hell, the cheap young kickers now that are seemingly hitting from 70 yards every single week, heck, you only need 2 15-yard pass plays and you're already in field goal range. Get it barely across midfield and teams can beat you now. You can't give a team the ball on the 40-yard line. You just can't do it in today's modern game. The modern kicker is too good for that. Like I said, you've got young guys that are coming out of college hitting from 65 and 70 like it's routine, especially in these dome stadiums, controlled settings, things like that. And so those are just mistakes. Those are veterans. The guys I just named, Mahomes throwing the bad red zone pick 699. You got Chris Jones standing there looking stupid, watching a quarterback get stepped on, fall down, and still rush for the winning touchdown. You got Harrison Butker, who's one of the longest tenured Chiefs players, kick it out of bounds, give the opposing team the ball on the 40, setting them up essentially in field goal range. These are veteran guys. It's not young players costing us. Hell, it wasn't even Jawan Taylor, who we like to pick on, for good reason, right? But it wasn't even Jawan Taylor last night. It was these veteran guys that have been with the Chiefs that normally execute that weren't. And it wasn't a case of Jacksonville got lucky. It wasn't a case of, missed calls and things like that. It's flat out missed opportunities. Speaking of missed calls, and I know everybody's going to sound off on this, obviously, you go back and review my Is the NFL Rigged for the Chiefs narrative and refereeing last year episode. You can check that out on our YouTube channel at Heartland NFL Talk. But yes, the missed pass interference call on Jaden Hicks was atrocious on the Trent McDuffie interception. As a Chiefs fan, admittedly, that was a gross missed call, and it led to a Chiefs touchdown. I was very happy. However, I can admit, as a Chiefs fan, objectively and truthfully, that they missed that call. But there were missed calls on both sides. And I'm just saying this in a general sense. I don't want to go on a long soliloquy about refereeing and missed calls and all that stuff. I've never been a big believer in that. If you're supposed to win the game and you execute the way you're supposed to, you should win the ball game, right? And I never like to blame it on the referees. But last night there were missed calls both ways. So we can't even blame it on that, right? It was just all flat out missed opportunities. And it was sad to see. We had the run game going a little bit. Kareem Hunt, 7 carries, 49 yards, 2 goal line touchdowns. Pacheco had 36 yards. Xavier Worthy did his thing. And Brashard Smith, our rookie, did his thing as well. We're starting to see more contributions, right? Overall, 22 rushes for 158 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. We're starting to see the run game come alive a little bit. Pacheco had a big game last night. We're starting to see some of these highlight points. A lot of it due to the fact that Xavier Worthy's back, stretching the field. Mahomes is throwing those shots to Tyquan Thornton. Some stuff's opening up underneath. But when you turn the ball over, you can't expect to win football games in the fashion, that we're used to seeing. And it's one of those things to where we've always won one-score games. The Chiefs are the best at executing in crunch time. And Monday Night Football was not one of those games. So very sad to see. Once again, we fall to 2-3. That was a game that I really, really wanted, with Detroit coming into Arrowhead on a big Sunday Night Football matchup. Speaking of that matchup, some exciting news here at the Heartland Huddle. We are having a live stream watch party at 7 o'clock Central Time for the Sunday Night Football Chiefs vs. Lions. Join us right here on our YouTube channel for a live stream watch party. Comment, be active in the chat. Let us know what we can do, what you want to talk about. We'll give you a shout out, making sure you're hitting the subscribe button all night and really tuning in. That helps us out. We want to have a lot of fun. We want to engage with our fans and subscribers. So join us this coming Sunday at 7 o'clock Central Time for a live stream watch party here with me and my co-host and different things on Sunday Night Football. So the Kansas City Chiefs once again fall to 2-3 with the big matchup against the Detroit Lions. Real quickly, this is called the Heartland Huddle Chiefs, Lions, and NFL Talk. You can catch us every Wednesday here on our YouTube channel and Spotify. I wanted to touch on the Lions, right? Because that's the Chiefs' next opponent and my co-host Xavier's team, the Detroit Lions. And what a game from them. Ho-hum. It used to be like that for the Chiefs. We could just, the Chiefs won again. Let's move on to the next week, etc., etc. Well, Detroit has certainly ascended into that now. Detroit moves to, of course, 4-1 on the season. Another blowout win, 37-24 against the lowly Joe Burrow-less Cincinnati Bengals. And it was another routine sort of performance from the Lions, just in terms of not really playing anybody, but doing what they're supposed to be doing and beating up on the Bengals. I gotta tell you guys, Chiefs Kingdom, I'm not just nervous, I'm not just scared. I can say this as a Chiefs fan. It doesn't diminish my belief. It doesn't diminish my fandom for Kansas City. But I think we're going to get our doors blown in on Sunday Night Football in front of a national audience. Why do I think that? Because of what I just watched against Jacksonville. Why do I think Detroit's a better team? Because they are, on paper and through the eye test, just talent-wise. They play a more physical brand of football. They like to push you around on both sides of the trenches, both sides of the line of scrimmage. Detroit has a two-headed monster that is unmatched anywhere in the league. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Dynamic running back duo. On the outside, I'd say he's a top 7 wide receiver. My co-host Xavier would probably say he's number 1. But on the outside and in the slot, you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown. You've got a talented Jameson Williams on the other outside spot. You've got one of the best, most talented offensive lines in football who gives an MVP candidate, I think, an MVP candidate in Jared Goff time to throw. When you give Jared Goff time to throw, he's going to throw in rhythm, on time, and he's extremely accurate. Those things don't bode well for Kansas City. We'll see if Steve Spagnuolo has Trent McDuffie follow Amon-Ra St. Brown all night. I hope he does, right? That's our only hope. Defensively, hell, I don't know what we're going to do with Aiden Hutchinson, who might win Defensive Player of the Year this year. I think Hutch is already up to 5.5 or 6.5 sacks through 5 weeks. Guess who he's going to be lining up against? I would have to say it's probably Jawan Taylor, right? And so we have to see that matchup. We're going to have to give tons of help on that side with chips and blocks and cut blocks and all sorts of stuff that Reed's going to have to draw up to try to give Mahomes some time. So Detroit, 37-24, big win against Cincinnati. It was one of those wins, once again, Jake Browning and Jamar Chase make it interesting in that third quarter. But then every time a team responds to Detroit, Detroit's able to elevate their play, go down on a big drive, and put the dagger in the team. So I'm nervous for the Detroit game. I'm scared of Detroit. I not only think they're the best team in the NFC, but I think they're the best team in the entire NFL. Especially after watching Philadelphia go down in the fashion that they did, some of the tougher games that they've won on a shaky offensive performances. We watched the Los Angeles Chargers get beat this week, and we watched also, too, the Buffalo Bills fall to a Patriots team who nobody thought much about before the season. And that brings me back to the Chiefs, right? In a week to where your division foe, who's already beat you once, the Los Angeles Chargers, lose. In a week to where the undefeated Buffalo Bills lose in the AFC. You can't have it. You have to capitalize on those moments. If we would have won on Monday Night Football, we're in a 3-way tie for first place among top of the AFC West with Denver, Kansas City, and the Chargers. Everything's in front of us, right? And then you also have Buffalo, who drops to 4-1. The Chiefs would have been 3-2. You're only a game back. The number 1 seed's still in play for the playoffs. And we didn't capitalize. That's what great teams do. Great teams take advantage when other teams grant you opportunities. And once again, over the last 7 or 8 years, there's been nobody better in the NFL to do that than the Kansas City Chiefs. And this year, we're not. Now, Guys, you guys know me by now, our loyal fan base and subscribers and community here on the Heartland Huddle. You guys know I'm an optimist. I might sound off on the Chiefs, but I do owe you the truth, and I do owe you a bit of sunshine, right? And that is the fact that we do get Rashee Rice back. Xavier Worthy is playing extremely well, and our offense for spurts and moments has figured it out. And do I think we can go on a run? Do I think we're going to make the playoffs? Absolutely. Do I think if we're a 3 or a 4 or a 5 seed that we're one of the scariest 3, 4, or 5 seeds in the history of the NFL? Absolutely. Let me ask you this, and sound off in the comments, by the way. Let me ask you this. Outside of the Kansas City Chiefs, what other team in the AFC do you trust more to win the AFC? Exactly. Like I said, sound off in the comments. I'll post it, making sure you guys are always checking the links in the community post and our comments and description on this video. But I don't trust anybody else. I don't trust Buffalo. Their defense is spotty at best. Josh Allen, when you can zone in on him and James Cook and spy him, he struggles. Great game plan by Mike Vrabel and the Patriots to limit him the other night. Clearly, Baltimore's out of it. They're done. They're gone. The Cincinnati Bengals are done. They're gone. I'm not scared of the Steelers, right? Miami's out of it and gone. The Patriots, they might be a scrappy young team that makes it, but they don't scare me. The Texans, who knows? They've put up some good performances against bad teams the past couple of weeks, right? So I'm still on the Chiefs train. There's still no other quarterback, coach, defense, and team that I trust more in the AFC than Kansas City, but we've got to get going. We have to play complete football games. And when that margin of error shrinks, we have to play perfect football. To start off the season with no Worthy and Rice, our margin of error was 0. And you saw that. We started 0-2. Well, Xavier Worthy comes back. He props open that door a little bit, right? You can get away with a few things. You have the vertical threat. Xavier Worthy can get you out of some tough spots. So your margin of error creeps open just a little bit. When Rashee Rice gets back, it comes wide open, right? We can get away with some holds. We can be 3rd and 2nd and 12s, and we can still come away with first downs because we have those two dynamic threats. But we don't have that right now, at least for one more game. And so, already not having a margin of error or a little one at that, and then you've got the best team in football coming into your house, you're going to have to play essentially perfect football to win on Sunday night. And right now, I just don't see it happening. But we'll get there, won't we? We always do. And as always, you can catch all the reactions, you can catch all the talk and hot debates right here on the Heartland Huddle podcast. Catch us every Wednesday with new episodes on our YouTube channel at Heartland NFL Talk, and of course on our Spotify as well. Lastly, don't forget, once again, a live stream watch party this coming Sunday for that big time Chiefs-Lions matchup. That's at 7 o'clock Central Time right here on YouTube. Make sure you guys tune in and hit that subscribe button. With that, Chiefs Kingdom, keep your heads up. We're going to get it rolling. Let's have fun Sunday night, and we'll see you back next time. Thanks, guys.